Hello students, today I'm going to explain the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear. Now before we read out this poem and understand this poem, it's important to know a little about this poem and the author, who happens to be Rabindranath Tagore. So I'll start with the first thing. Where the Mind is Without Fear is a poem written by Rabindranath Tagore before India's independence. So India was not independent, and that time this poem was written by Rabindranath Tagore. He's a very famous Bengali poet, and he has also written Janagan Man, our national anthem. Okay, and I'm sure you're aware of this point. So the original Bengali language poem was published in 1910 and was included in the 1910 collection of Gitanjali and in Tagore's own translation in its 1912 English edition. So basically, this was not in English in the beginning, it was written in Bengali language because Rabindranath Tagore, from Bengal, being from Bengal and being a Bengali himself, he wrote his poems in Bengali. So it was originally written in Bengali language and it was published in 1910 in his own collection called Gitanjali. Okay, and he translated it in 1912 and then this was in English. Okay, it appeared as poem 35 in the English Gitanjali. Okay, the sequence or the number of this poem in the English Gitanjali, which was a translated work again, it was numbered as 35 in the English Gitanjali. Okay, we have numbers now 1, 2, 3, 4, so its sequence was 35. Okay, in 1917, Tagore read out the English version, then titled Indian Prayer, at the National Congress session in Calcutta. So this poem was actually not a poem initially, it was an Indian prayer. We pray, no, to ask for a good thing or to show our vision to Almighty or to God that what do we want exactly. Okay, so Tagore had written this poem keeping in mind that what kind of India he wants. Okay, so India was not independent that time. Before independence, this was written during the British rule. Okay, so he wanted an India which was free. Okay, and in this poem he has discussed basically that what kind of India he wants, and this is why this poem is called, used to be called, an Indian prayer. Okay, and he basically read it out in 1917 before the independence. Remember, we got independent in 1947, so this was much before in 1917 that he read out this poem in English at the Indian National Congress session in Calcutta. During his address to Indian Parliament in 2010, which means they are talking about the recent times. During his address to Indian Parliament in 2010, US President Barack Obama quoted the lines of this poem. So when Barack Obama, President of US, in 2010, he was addressing the Indian Parliament, he quoted the lines of this poem. So it makes this poem even more special. That even in today's times, this kind of poem is so relevant. Okay, like this is like, how old is this poem? Too old, isn't it? Before independence, it was written. So it is almost like a howsoever whatsoever in 1917 he read it out. So it is like much ago he had written it. So it's too many years. Okay. So this is the poem in one go. It has been basically written, it contains 11 lines in total. Okay, and these lines are not divided in stanzas at all. They are divided into some meaningful segments, like two lines, and they create some meaning with two lines. Then they go to the next two lines, and so on. Okay, and it's very easy to understand, extremely easy to follow and understand. Why? Because a short poem is extremely easy to understand, isn't it? Most of the time, when a poem is too lengthy, we feel bored. But this is a very short and sweet poem and to the point. Okay, so without wasting any time, let us start with the poems. I will first explain it line by line, okay, and then we can just think about like how exactly it feels as a whole. All right. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Okay, now as I've already told you, this is a poem which has been written before independence. So you have to put your mind in that frame that this is a time when we were not free, freedom was not there. So we used to do things according to the British people, we used to just follow them. So we never had a will of our own, no freedom was there. So we were entirely slaves of British. Okay, so the poet is writing that where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. In these lines, what does the poet say? The poet starts to imagine basically that what he would like his country to be like. He says that no countryman of his country should live in fear on his mind at all times. Instead, they should hold their heads up. They should keep their heads up. They should hold their heads up without any fear. That is fearlessly, and they should have confidence in themselves. Okay, this is the meaning of this line. Line number two is where knowledge is free. It means that knowledge should be available to every child, every citizen of the country. Educational institutes, schools, colleges should admit students of all races and classes. It shouldn't be like that if you are Asian, you are given an admission late, or if you are an American, you are given an admission faster, or maybe you are not given an admission because you belong to a particular race. It shouldn't be like that. If you belong to upper caste, you will be given an admission, and if you belong to the lower caste, you'll not be given admission. It shouldn't be like that. Knowledge should be free. That is, any person can get knowledge, and it should not depend on what race, what class, what caste, what religion you belong to. Okay, so it is a free India dream. In free India, he dreams that it should be like this. Okay, all the various regions of India and their people should be united. Okay, In the next line, he means to say this, where the word has not been broken up into fragments. It means, fragments means pieces, okay? Small pieces or parts of a broken thing, okay? So in our world, how is it like? The world has boundaries. If you look at the map, you see a lot of lines, isn't it? Like this is India, this is Australia, this is America, and so on. Even inside India, we have a lot of boundaries, isn't it? This is Delhi, this is Jaipur, this is Punjab, this is Maharashtra, and so on. So he wants to imagine a world. He has a vision that we should have that kind of world, that kind of country which is not broken into pieces or fragments. There are no walls, okay, and various people should be united instead of fighting amongst themselves for supremacy. They nobody is big, nobody is small, everybody is equal, and the world is not divided in pieces, okay, by narrow domestic walls, which means there shouldn't be any walls in the country. It should be one complete whole country, okay. Let's come to the next lines. This is line number 5, I believe, okay. Where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way. Okay, the next line is also there. Into the dreary desert of sand, desert sand of dead habit. Okay, so I will explain 1, 2, 3 and this fourth line together, right? So where the words come out from the depth of truth, I will first explain this. Okay, in these line, poet says that in India of his dreams, he's talking about his dream India, right? We have to always remember this. So he says that in the India of his dreams, everyone should speak the truth. Okay, nobody should lie. Nobody should lie so that he can get some kind of advantage, right? People lie a lot, isn't it? I mean, in today's India, people lie a lot, but he dreamt of an India where nobody lies for his own advantage. And next line is where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. Striving means, children, striving means to make some kind of effort, okay? To make effort. Tireless means without feeling of tiredness, okay? You are not tired at all, okay? So in the second line, in the first line, I've explained you, he wants all the countrymen to speak truth, okay? Nobody is going to lie in his country. And every man should make an effort to improve himself. Tireless striving means every man, every human being, every country man is going to do a lot of effort to improve himself, and he should keep trying until he reaches a stage of self perfection. He should work that much hard that he reaches a state of perfection. All right, everybody should be hard working in the country, okay. So next line is where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way, which means he is imagining the reason to be a clear stream of water. Clear stream of water means which is clear, pure, and free from any kind of impurity. And so that one can progress easily and without any obstacle, basically. There are no doubts in this kind of world. And basically, he thinks that the desert, basically, in the next line, these two lines are connected into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. Dreary means boring, okay? So it is saying, basically, he wants to say that he thinks that the desert is a habit, okay? And the stream of reasons basically is lost in the he doesn't want it to lose its way in the desert, right? So he wants that superstition is there in our country, and he does not want anybody, all people of his country, to blindly believe in whatever superstitions are prevailing in the country at present. And he wants them to question them with the help of logic. What is logic? When you question something, okay, when you doubt something and when you question something, why something is like this, okay. So he wants his people to be logical and rational, okay. He wants them to think a lot and have a clear logical thinking, and he does not want them to get lost anywhere, okay. So into the dreary desert sand of dead habit means they shouldn't have a habit of always believing in the superstition. Rather, they should dig into the true facts, and they should be able to think logically and reasonably, right? Now I come to the next line, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. Okay, now in these lines, these are the last three lines. As I told you, this is a very small and sweet poem. So in these lines, poet is basically talking to the God, isn't it? What is written in the last line? My father. My father means God. Okay, so he is talking to the God, and he wants his countrymen to be led by God, led by him, so that they broaden the horizon of their thoughts and action, which means that he wants people to think in a broad way, not in a narrow way, and to take an action. If they were to do so, then India would be transformed into a heaven. If people are going to do think like that in a very wide way, no differences, no distinction, no caste, no differences at all, no kind of inequalities, and people act according to that, then the country and its citizens basically are going to be totally free in every term, not just from Britishers, but there are some foundations which we apply on ourselves, and a human being, a country person, would be free from those foundations also, and he will be truly free. The country also will be truly free, and this kind of country is going to be called a heaven of freedom, okay. And he wants that all the countrymen feel awake, or they totally feel free in this kind of heavenly country. Okay, so this is the poem in total, and I hope you have understood it. And this basically was written by Rabindranath Tagore, and I've already told you about Rabindranath Tagore. This was originally in a Bengali, and then it was translated into English. So it's very, very good, and it had very good impact on our freedom fighting also. Because Rabindranath Tagore was a person before freedom, poet before freedom, which naturally means that his writings have had a very great impact on the people who were helping out with the national movement before the independence time. Okay, and this basically poem has been set up in India only, in the poet's dreams, and this is the kind of India he hopes, which is this kind of India will be created after its independence from British rule. Okay, and this is it about this chapter, chapter number 15, poem number 15, where the mind is without fear. This book's name is Headward Stairway, page number 126. If you need anything more, you can let me know in the comment section. Any question answers, any poem explanation, any chapter explanation, any book, I'm always there. I'll try to help you out. Thank you so much for today, and I'll see you again.